Hello and welcome. Tonight, 70 people die and at least 150 persons rescued after a boat carrying 300 passengers capsized in Bajibu community of Mokwa local government area of Niger State. 300 communities flooded and an estimated 5 million locals sacked from their homes after floods hit Mokwa local government area of Niger State in north-central Nigeria. And the House of Representatives rejects the Commander of the Federal Republic CFR honor announced by President Bola Tinubu in his Independence Anniversary speech to be conferred on the Speaker of the House, Tajuddin Abbas.
And on business news, global oil prices rise nearly 1% amid escalating tensions in the Middle East.
On sports, Carlos Alcaraz fights back from a set down to beat world number 1 Yannick Sinner to win his maiden China Open title.
And from Abuja, the nation's capital, the president departs Abuja for the United Kingdom to begin a 2-week vacation. President Bola Tinubu will use the 2 weeks, part of his yearly leave, as a working vacation and a retreat to reflect on his administration's economic reforms.
And in international news from London, the Israeli military and Hezbollah have both reported ground fighting inside southern Lebanon a day after Israel announced it was invading.
Scores are feared dead after a boat carrying over 300 passengers capsized at the notorious Bajibo River in Mokwa local government area of Niger State. A statement by the press secretary to the council chairman of Mokwa local government, Mr. Abubakar Dakani, explains that the boat was traveling from Mundi to Bajibo for the annual Maulud celebration when tragedy struck. The release also confirms that the council chairman, Mr. Abdullahi Moregi, acknowledged the recovery of approximately 70 bodies, while 150 persons, or at least 150 persons, have been rescued so far. Well, in the meantime, rescue efforts in collaboration with the State Emergency Management Agency and locals are ongoing to help recover others who are still missing. Recall that in September of 2023, a similar boat carrying over 50 passengers capsized, killing some 24 persons who were on their way to a farm for the harvest. Meanwhile, over 300 communities are flooded and an estimated 5 million locals sacked from their homes in Niger State. The channel's television gathered that women and children are now taking shelter upland, converting schools to camps for internally displaced persons, while they are also faced with acute water shortage. During a tour of some of the affected communities, Channel's television visited Jifu and Muregi, which are located on the bank of the confluence of rivers Niger and Kaduna in the area.
Floodwater has taken over some communities in Mokwa and Mashegu local government areas of Niger State. Children wade through the water, oblivious of the implications. According to the Niger State Emergency Management Agency, over 3,000 communities are affected by the flood, which is the result of the latest heavy downpour in the area. Aside from the concerns of disease outbreak, the victims are concerned that the disaster has only worsened their economic situation.
We are already in a dire situation with economic challenges occasioned by the fuel subsidy removal. We are already worried over the poor yield in our farm, and we are now experiencing flood washing away our fields.
Our community is always at the verge of flood because we are at the center of the river Niger and Kaduna. This time, we are sacked from our homes and we are now taking shelter in this school. Our cry is for the government to support us with essentials like food.
While livestock farmers are unable to tend to the animals, crop farmers are counting their losses. The statement from the emergency agency estimates that over 118,000 hectares of farmlands were washed away. Though the latest disaster has not led to the loss of lives, the local government chairman is calling for help.
Anytime that there is a discharge as a result of overflow from the dams, it affects us largely compared to any other community that is a bit far away from the riverbank. The effect this year is very much because so far houses have been submerged, farmlands have been washed away, a lot of animals have been killed, though we've not recorded any death this year. Some schools and primary health care as well has also been submerged.
Meanwhile, the state government has deployed an impact assessment team to the area. For now, the victims are taking shelter in some of the schools in the area.
Following the conferment of national honors on the leadership of the National Assembly by the President on October the 1st, the House of Representatives is dissatisfied with what it describes as discrimination against the Green Chamber. A motion sponsored by all 360 lawmakers draws attention to the conferment of the title Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, GCON, on the President of the Senate and the title Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, CFR, on the Speaker of the House of Representatives. The lawmakers argue that both chambers are equal and the Green Chamber should not even be referred to as a lower chamber. Our correspondent Terry Kumi reports.
Upon receipt of a notice from the Akwa Ibom caucus of the House, signed by its leader, Onyime Idem, Wednesday's plenary in the House of Representatives commences with a moment of silence in honor of the wife of the governor of Akwa Ibom State who passed away.
Mr. Speaker.
Meanwhile, back from celebrating the 64th independence anniversary of the country, the national honors announced by the President during the Independence Day celebration has unsettled the House, as all 360 members sponsor a motion questioning the national honor of Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger on the Senate President, while the Speaker is conferred with the Commander of the Federal Republic.
In accordance to the protocol of this country, the Speaker is the fourth in protocol. The CGN comes after. Today, the CGN is given the award, the honor of GCON.
The issues here, they have to do with history, with tradition, with correcting past injustices and miscarriage of recognition and constitutional order of things.
Looking at the promotion of the Chief Judge who was just few days sworn in, it gives some of us heartbreak to hear this sad news.
What he has already pronounced needs to be changed before it's confirmed, because we can't continue to be repeating the mistakes of the past.
Lawmakers also draw attention to Section 47 of the Constitution to dispel the alleged perception of superiority of the Senate.
There shall be a National Assembly for the Federation which shall consist of a Senate and a House of Representatives. He never said that one is superior to the other.
The motion is referred to an ad hoc committee as the House is to write to the Minister of Special Duties, who is also a former lawmaker, to correct the error and urge the President to perhaps confer the honor of GCON on past speakers of the House as well. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
The chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, Mr. Adamu Aliyu, has announced the recovery of more than 13 billion naira in misappropriated public funds during September 2024 alone. Mr. Aliyu, who made the announcement in Abuja at the launch of the ICPC's 2024 to 2028 Strategic Action Plan, highlighted the Commission's significant strides in fulfilling its mandate, stating the recovery of the said funds is just one example of the Commission's unwavering commitment to its mission. He also outlined plans for ICT reforms aimed at digitizing the Commission's operations in order to enhance investigations, case management, and internal processes.
This is the inaugural launch of a 4-year strategic plan by the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission as anti-corruption experts converge on Abuja. The chairman of the commission kickstarts the event as he announces the recovery of over 13 billion naira from corrupt persons.
We fully recognize that the fight against corruption cannot be won by a single institution. That is why our brothers are here, the CCB and the ICPC, and we really appreciate their presence. Over the past year, ICPC has made significant progress in discharging its mandates. For example, we recovered over 13 billion diverted public funds in the month of September 2024. That is last month alone.
Illicit financial flow and corrupt practices is the focus of the launch.
I would like to flag the attention of this distinguished gathering to look at the report done by his former president of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki, on the illicit financial flows out of Africa, which basically shows that what goes out of African continent every year is much more than the aid that we receive as a continent.
Having a strategy is like having a book on the shelf. What is extremely important is the implementation, the ability, the commitment, the proficiency, the acumen you need to implement. That is where the major work is.
For the federal government, the fight against corruption is paramount to the nation's development.
The fight against corruption remains the cornerstone of this administration's agenda. As we recognize that corruption is like a cancer that eats deep at the fabric of our society.
After the speeches, the 4-year strategic plan is unveiled. The chairman of the anti-graft agency highlights the challenges being experienced by the commission.
The issue of prosecution is not a one-sided issue. There are stakeholders. The prosecutor, the suspect himself or the defendant, the counsel to the suspect, in some cases the prison authority, and also the witnesses.
The 4-year strategic action plan runs from 2024 to 2028 and is aimed at strengthening the fight against corruption.
A civil society group under the aegis of the Joint Action for Democracy is calling on the National Judicial Commission to investigate some judges following the conflicting judgments on the Rivers State local government election. This call was made at a news conference in Abuja.
As the Rivers State local government election approaches, controversies continue to surround the process following conflicting court rulings from 2 high courts in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, and Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. The Rivers State High Court has ordered that preparations for the election proceed as scheduled, while the Federal High Court in Abuja issued an order restraining the Independent National Electoral Commission from releasing the 2023 voter register to the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RISEC. RISEC, in response to the order, says it already obtained the 2023 voter register as far back as November last year. But INEC refutes this claim, insisting that it has not released the voter register to the state electoral body.
We have not released before we received from our headquarters an order from Federal High Court restraining INEC from releasing the register. So up to now, we have not officially handed over the Rivers State voters register to the RISEC. We have not.
Let me place it on record before the hearing of the entire world that as we speak, we are already in possession of the 2023 updated voters register for the conduct of the October 5th local government poll in Rivers State. And that document was handed down to us by INEC.
Despite the legal battle, Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has remained resolute, declaring that his administration will provide the necessary logistics to ensure the election goes ahead as planned. Meanwhile, the Inter-Party Advisory Council has also endorsed the election, October 5th date, and called on its members to participate fully in the process.
Those who have committed their energies, resources, time to participate in this election to prove that we are ready to provide leadership at the grassroots level in our various local governments to stand firm that the election will hold.
Adding to the controversy, the Rivers State chapter of the All Progressives Congress remains divided. The reinstated chairman of the party, Emeka Beke, presented flags to the party's candidates, signaling their readiness for the election. But the APC group led by Mr. Tony Okocha says the court is being undermined.
There's a judgment before that judgment in Rivers State, which all of you are aware. I don't know why they are trying to drag Rivers people into the mud. Why are they deceiving Rivers people? Election will take place on Saturday. Nobody's going to stop the election not to take place. And anybody who creates problem will carry the problem on his head. That's the position of APC in Rivers State.
The governor of Rivers State has ruled and continued to rule this state with impunities. And we will not stand akimbo and watch him drift this state to abysmal oblivion by the reason of trying to push across his personal idiosyncrasies.
With just days to go, residents would only hope that the controversy is resolved by D-Day.
In part two, after the break, members of the PDP in Edo State staged a protest at the office of INEC in Benin City, the Edo State capital. The party supporters wielding placards asked INEC to reverse the results of the September 21st governorship election in the state, announced a day after the poll. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the News at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. 70 people die and at least 150 persons rescued after a boat carrying 300 passengers capsized in the Bajabo community of Mokwa local government area of Niger State. 300 communities flooded and an estimated 5 million locals sacked from their homes after floods hit Mokwa local government of Niger State in north-central Nigeria. And the House of Representatives rejects the Commander of the Federal Republic CFR honor announced by President Bola Tinubu in his independence anniversary speech to be conferred on the Speaker of the House, Tajuddin Abbas. We're still in Rivers, and this time State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has declared Thursday, October the 3rd and Friday, October the 4th this year as public holidays to enable residents of the state travel to their various communities to fully participate in the Saturday, October 5th local government elections. The governor also announced strict restriction of vehicular movement of residents from midnight on Friday, October the 4th to 5 p.m. on election day. Governor Fubara made the declaration in a statewide broadcast to the people of the state at the Government House in Port Harcourt. The People's Democratic Party in Edo State are still insisting on reclaiming their alleged stolen mandate by the Independent National Electoral Commission, even when Senator Monday Okpebolo of the All Progressives Congress has received his certificate of return as the governor-elect of Edo State. The chairman of the PDP Edo State, Anthony Azegbemi, and the Director General of the Governorship Campaign Council, Matthew Idonyawekanwe, led supporters on a protest march to the INEC headquarters in Benin City. They are accusing the electoral umpire of manipulating the September 21st governorship election results, insisting that the police and the APC are also culpable.
The one way we said they even certified for INEC here is different from the one way they give us for our unit. It's not supposed to be, not the one result, not the one election. From the field to the state here, not supposed to be the same. So these people, one unit will get 3 different types of results. Three. I mean, these people are very wicked. If we had lost this election clean, we will not congratulate who win. But because they don't win, we not going to congratulate them. Now we congratulate them, they win any election. Not the way we people came out to vote en masse. The election was peaceful until that night when I came here to this INEC. When that wreck must leave this state. He must go back to where he's from. Yes, sir. We are civilized people. He cannot turn this place to a banana republic. And INEC must be disbanded. Yes! If we want to have a truly democratic nation, we must have an INEC that is truly independent. The INEC now is a branch of the APC, supported by the Nigerian Police Force.
The special ad hoc committee set up by the federal government to investigate the causes of the deplorable state of dams in Nigeria following the flood disaster in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, has held its inaugural meeting in Abuja. Addressing journalists at the end of the first meeting, the Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Yutsev, says the committee just has about a month to go round the dams and document their findings before presenting their outcomes and recommendations to the Federal Executive Council.
In line with the Renew Hope agenda of Mr. President, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, he graciously set the technical committee to look at all dams in the country, to look at their integrity. We are not leaving any stone unturned. We are looking at all the dams in the country to look at their status and look at what that needs to be done technically to alleviate the challenges of both flooding, water supply, irrigation, and flood control in Nigeria. Today, we are here to inaugurate, which we have inaugurated the committee, in line with Mr. President's directive. What we are assuring Nigerians is that the integrity of all Nigerian dams, as it was given to Nigerians in Mr. President's 64th independence speech, we are going to look at all the dams and come up with reports and the menace of challenges of disasters in the country, particularly what have happened in Maiduguri. By the grace of God, it will not repeat itself.
Let's now head to the nation's capital, and Gloria Umezoke is standing by to give us the very latest from our Abuja studios. Over to you, Gloria.
Thank you, Ayo. President Bola Tinubu has departed Abuja for the United Kingdom to begin a 2-week vacation. The president departed the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport at about 2:30 p.m. According to a statement by the Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, the president will use the 2 weeks part of his yearly leave as a working vacation and a retreat to reflect on his administration's economic reforms. After almost 2 years of not landing in Lagos, Emirates Airlines has resumed flight services to Nigeria. According to the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, the partnership will foster economic development and strengthen the national aviation sector as more carriers will enter the market, bringing convenience to Nigerian travelers.
The traditional water cannon salute welcomes the Emirates airline to Lagos. Shortly after, the Minister of Aviation and a senior UAE official make their way to a venue outside the airport to meet the press. Here, Mr. Festus Keyamo says today's activity marks the restoration of a major relationship between two countries.
People are excited. People are happy that we are restoring relationship with the UAE, and that is why I took all the pain to go back there to sign a new PASA. I went there, we signed a new air service agreement, bilateral air service agreement, redefining our relationship altogether again, making it more healthy, making it more open, and for the benefits especially of the Nigerian people.
From bilateral relationship to another, which will see code sharing between Emirates and local airlines.
I can tell you that we also secured some kind of code sharing agreement. We told them that if they want to code share, our airlines will have the right of first refusal. So that is an expo I'm giving to. He said our local airlines will have the right of first refusal because there will be a lot of code sharing in this respect. Now, one more question. And as I speak with you, they are speaking with many of our local operators. I went with some of them. I'm sure you saw some of them in the pictures. Emirates is speaking with a lot of our local operators now, and that is also for the benefit of our local aviation industry.
Codeshare is an interline partnership where one carrier markets service and places its code on another carrier's flights. This offers carriers an opportunity to provide service to destinations not in their route structure. Emirates Airline is back on the Nigerian route after a 2-year break. The Middle East-based mega carrier had earlier announced that it would resume flight services to Nigeria from October 1.
Still ahead on the news at 10, global oil prices rise nearly 1% amid escalating tensions in the Middle East. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television. Staying with Emirates' return to Nigerian airspace, but outside our shores, there is cause for celebration in the diaspora community based in the UAE. The restoration of direct flights between both countries is regarded as confirmation that restrictions placed on Nigerians resident in the UAE can once again enjoy unhindered access to opportunities available to all the others in the country. Our UAE correspondent, Mayowa Adegoke, in this next report captures the expectations of Nigerians in the Emirates.
Emirates returns to Nigeria after 2 years, and it's cause for celebration. But for Nigerians in the UAE, this good news begs some questions.
What will happen to the Nigerian guys that could not get work permits for 3 years now? What will happen to Nigerian babies that were given back here until now they could not get visa? What will happen to Nigerian businesses that are finding it difficult to renew their licenses?
The longer-awaited return is expected to signal a total restoration of diplomatic ties, which many hope will encourage free flow of travelers and trade.
It is something of celebration, and as it's coming on our Independence Day, I must say kudos to those who have tried all their efforts to make sure that this comes to reality.
While many expect that restrictions on all visas and work permits for Nigerians are resolved, entrepreneurs have high hopes of economic increase.
It's going to go a long way to alleviate most of our stress. So it's really a welcome idea, and we are really grateful to the Dubai government and Nigerian government for the collaboration and coming together to make this happen.
A new chapter is open. However, the lessons learned from the past cannot be soon forgotten.
You lose sleep, you get stressed, and all that, because you're running the business the wrong way.
Seasoned investor Joe Sawaye is one many look up to for guidance and inspiration. From his experience navigating the past 2 years, he advocates business innovation for sustained relevance in the UAE market.
So for the past 2 years, we have morphed into a different kind of restaurant to be able to cater for the other non-Nigerians that are here, even though we're a Pan-African restaurant, but a big chunk of our business is from Nigeria.
They say all is well that ends well, and for this new beginning, or should we say reboot, only time will tell if this is to be a sustained happy ever after between Nigeria and the UAE. From Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, Mayowa Adegoke for Channels Television News.
A humanitarian group, the Stanley Uzochukwu Foundation, has expressed commitment to rebuild an uncompleted orphanage home in Jos, the Plateau State capital, as well as revamp the education section and improve the general well-being of the orphans. The chief executive officer of the foundation, Mrs. Jovita Ibie, stated that the intervention in the orphanage will take off immediately with drilling of boreholes, restructuring of the uncompleted buildings and classrooms, as well as provision of total health care services to the orphanage.
In fulfillment of its mandate on enhancing quality of life for young people through mobilization, training, mentorship, empowerment, and partnership programs, the Stanley Uzochukwu Foundation has undertaken to reform an orphanage home in Jos, Plateau State. Joffin Orphanage, housing over 80 children, attracted the intervention of the foundation following a survey which revealed the unpleasant conditions at the facility. In furtherance to providing the children with meaningful and purposeful living, the uncompleted building and classrooms are undergoing renovation while the children are being fed daily.
Currently, in this orphanage home, they have 50 children. However, the children from this orphanage home are not only orphans. You have people whose parents are unable to cater for their children, so they bring them to the orphanage home instead of the children to starve or to stay without proper nourishment or proper care. They bring them here as well.
The matron of the orphanage, Chidiebere Onyoku, revealed that the foundation team has been on ground feeding the children on a daily basis with rich meals and providing the orphans with medical attention.
Every morning you keep on struggling. What will the children eat today? What will they eat in the afternoon? But since 1 week now, I've not even talked about food. Somebody will before 5 o'clock they have started taking their beds. 6 o'clock, 7, 8 they are eating their food.
In appreciation of the foundation's gesture, the students presented a portrait of the founder for a souvenir. The Plateau State government, through the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development, expresses gratitude to the foundation for its humanitarian efforts.
So we want to really thank the Stanley Uzochukwu Foundation for all they've done all over the country, and for reaching out to Plateau State and for starting in this orphanage.
The Stanley Uzochukwu Foundation has also announced empowerment grants of 40 million naira to 80 small, medium-scale business owners across the country, with the grant ceremony scheduled for Lagos this October, with beneficiary going home with 500,000 naira each.
Well, that's it from the nation's capital. It's over now to Will Ebong in Lagos for business news. Thank you, Gloria. Now, global oil prices surged by more than $1 today due to rising concerns over potential disruptions in crude production. And this follows Iran's major military strike against Israel, escalating tensions in the Middle East. Brent crude rose by 1.36% to $74.56 per barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate WTI crude rose by 1.53% to $70.90. Both benchmarks had already gained over 5% during Tuesday's trading. And the Major Energy Marketers Association of Nigeria, MEMAN, has asked the federal government to concession the existing refineries in the country. The Executive Secretary of MEMAN, Mr. Clement Isong, who spoke to journalists in Lagos, says that the approach would be the most effective way to enhance domestic refining capacity and also help to meet the country's local fuel demand. He explains that the move would also attract private sector investment and improve operational efficiency. At the same time, the MEMAN Secretary also suggests the encouragement of local refineries to adopt a toll refining model where oil producers could refine their crude locally for a fee. The Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, says to strengthen its partnership with the judiciary as part of efforts to enhance the prosecution of failed banks in the country. The Managing Director, CEO of the NDIC, Mr. Bello Hassan, who made this known to journalists in a statement, says that the collaboration had resulted in the resolution of long-standing cases, as well as the declaration of 100% liquidation dividends to uninsured deposits of over 20 closed banks. He explains that in addition to insured deposits, the NDIC has worked tirelessly to recover the assets of defunct banks and ensure that uninsured depositors are not left behind. Outside our shores, Ghana's inflation rate rose unexpectedly in September, marking the first increase in 6 months and casting doubts on policymakers' predictions that prices would ease by year-end. According to the Bureau of Statistics, consumer prices jumped to 21.5% in September from 20.4% in August. The data from the Statistics Office shows that increase in food prices is the main factor behind the rise in inflation. And the domestic equities market opened its first trading session in October after the Independence Day holiday in negative territory as investors sell off bellwether stocks. Laddie Williams has the details.
Hello and welcome to the market close summary for the first trading day of the fourth quarter of 2024. And we see the All Share Index kicking off with good old profit taking the start this quarter, 98,232 points, 0.33% pullback. Let's look at the sectoral performance now. We see big sell-offs with the banking and oil and gas counter today. Big 2% drop for banking, oil and gas 0.13%. Lone gainer for the markets we track, 1.07% drop there for the consumer goods counter. Now we see the likes of Orlando PLC there shedding about 5 naira 60 kobo off its share price. could be related to the announcement by the company of a further delay in completion of its 2023 audit. I want to also disclose this is due to its recent acquisition of Nigerian Egypt oil. Let's look at the tier 1 banks now. We see the Fugas, FBNH down 4.44%, UBA down about 5%, GTCO 0.31%. So all of them, most of them down, just Zenith there unchanged. So market mover today to the downside. MTN Nigeria dropping about 1 naira today, also contributing to the downturn we see to start this quarter. So that's how the first trading day of October is kicking off. Would it be Uptober or Downtober for this month? We'll definitely find out. But today, the Bears have it.
That's a wrap on business. It's back to Ayotunde for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Will. PalmPay, one of Nigeria's most reliable fintech service provider, has marked 5 years of uninterrupted services with a colorful ceremony in Lagos. Now, the company, which has committed itself to enabling individuals and businesses carry out transactions, says it will continue building on gains of the last 5 years and promises its customers of a more secure environment to carry out their transactions.
This ceremony is nothing short of an occasion to mark a successful journey of 5 years of PalmPay Nigeria Limited. Managing Director of PalmPay Nigeria Limited, Mr. Chika Nwosu, attributes the achievements to staff resilience despite the challenging environment.
Thanks to the hard work and sacrifice of everyone involved, PalmPay now boasts a user base of over 35 million people, supported by an extensive network of 1 million mobile merchants and agents. We have established ourselves as thought leaders in Nigeria fintech sector.
With 35 million users and over 15 million daily transactions, is made possible working with partners.
What we've done is we've partnered with PalmPay to give their customers access to value, and this access now has been enabled across multiple channels. I think before now it would have been a struggle for those customers to be able to go online, buy services, pay for items on Google and a number of other global merchants, but with Verve that is possible today.
And at the core of PalmPay's services is the provision of payment channels to more Nigerians. And the company knows that the success recorded is attributed to its security infrastructure, equipped to protect customers' funds.
We've also implemented a very robust AI-driven fraud management system, whereby we're able to monitor transaction patterns, and then where we see funny transactions, we're able to raise triggers to then do further investigation to ascertain who this customer actually is.
If you look at recently, or if you look at the display up there, you notice that we just launched our USSD code. We want to deepen all what we have done, the financial inclusion. We want to go further into the last mile. So that is what every one of you should be looking up to us in the next maybe 1 or 2 years.
PalmPay says it has, in the last 5 years, addressed Nigeria's unique financial needs with a broad range of products, including money transfers, bill payments, credits, savings, and supports to businesses, and looks forward to a more successful future.
The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission is advising Nigerians still resident in Lebanon to consider moving out of the country. Now, while commercial flights are still available, the message was conveyed in a statement by the Commission. NIDCOM says it has already received information from the Nigerian community in Lebanon that most people have relocated from the southern part and are now relatively safe. It advises Nigerians still in the country to liaise with the Nigerian embassy for necessary guidance regarding their safety. Here's Sam Apuza with more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The Israeli military and Hezbollah have reported ground fighting inside southern Lebanon a day after Israel announced it was invading. The IDF says it's using precision-guided munitions and close-range engagements inside Lebanon. Hezbollah claims its fighters have inflicted casualties on Israeli soldiers. Earlier, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Iran would pay after Iran fired around 180 missiles at Israel on Tuesday. Lebanese officials say more than 1,000 people have been killed in the past 2 weeks, while around 1 million may now be displaced. Meanwhile, Israeli airstrikes and a ground operation targeting the Khan Yunis area in southern Gaza have killed at least 51 people. That's according to Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry. Tanks reportedly advanced into some parts of the city and its surrounding area, with residents reporting gunfire and heavy shelling. Separately, the Israeli Defense Forces said it had struck Hamas targets located in 3 schools, sheltering displaced people in central and northern Gaza overnight. Hundreds of people remain missing after catastrophic flooding decimated towns, destroyed roads and cut off power for more than 1 million homes in the US southeast. The death toll has continued to rise since Hurricane Helene, which was later downgraded to a tropical storm, tore across the region. At least 135 people have been confirmed dead across 6 states, a figure that is expected to grow. At least 40 of those dead were in the west of North Carolina, where 300 roads remain closed, hampering recovery operations as well as the delivery of much-needed food and water. Tim Walz and JD Vance have defended their respective running mates during their first and possibly only vice presidential debate.
It's really rich for Democratic leaders to say that Donald Trump is a unique threat to democracy.
Hosted by CBS News, the event gave the pair the chance to introduce themselves and go on the attack against the opposing ticket. Each man pointed to the crisis of the day as reasons for voters to choose their respective running mates for president.
That we have to increase security in our schools. We have to make the doors lock better. We have to make the doors stronger. We've got to make the windows stronger. And of course, we've got to increase school resource officers, because the idea that we can magically wave a wand and take guns out of the hands of bad guys, it just doesn't fit with recent experience. So we've got to make our schools safer.
Do you want your schools hardened to look like a fort? Is that what we have to go when we know there's countries around the world that their children aren't practicing these types of drills?
British Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has met with the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen for what Brussels described as a first conversation on issues like trade, security and youth mobility. Mr Starmer, whose Labour Party won in July's election, has made clear that his government won't seek wholesale negotiation of the Brexit deal that took Britain out of the bloc, but he is seeking to tweak the relationship in a range of areas. The European Union shares his desire for a joint security pact, but talks on barriers to the movement of goods and people could prove more difficult.
We have a lot to discuss today, and I'm very much looking forward to working with you and to continue to strengthen our relation.
We are determined to put this relationship back on a stable, positive footing that I think we all want to see.
A group of Russian rescuers and volunteers have saved 4 killer whales stranded for hours off the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia's far east, after leading them to deeper waters. Russia's Emergency Situations Ministry had earlier warned that the whales, 2 orcas and 2 calves, were stuck in a silted estuary. That prompted more than 30 rescuers to use small boats to aid the whalers, dousing them with water as they tried to push them into deeper waters. And a huge fireworks display has taken place in Hong Kong to celebrate China's National Day. Residents and tourists watched from both sides of the Victoria Harbour for the show, which was estimated to attract around 330,000 spectators. Fireworks shaped like green bamboo leaves followed to mark the arrival of a pair of giant pandas last week, gifted by the central government, and the twin cubs that were born in Hong Kong in August. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
And we're hearing that Aliou Cissé will not have his contract renewed as Senegal coach, ending a successful 9-year spell in charge of the side that included a first Africa Cup of Nations title and 2 World Cup qualifications. Cissé had been under increasing pressure after Senegal's surprise last 16 exits at the 2023 Cup of Nations when they lost on penalties to host nation Ivory Coast. Well, let's turn attention now to the UEFA Champions League. We have results here on the board. We begin with Dutch side Feyenoord. They beat Girona 3-2 in Spain, while Super Eagles forward Ademola Lookman was on target as Atalanta cruised to a 3-0 victory over Shakhtar Donetsk. Elsewhere, Aston Villa pulled off an upset after beating Bavarian giants Bayern Munich 1-0, courtesy of John Duran's 79th minute goal. In Portugal, Benfica produced a breathtaking display of football as they demolished Atletico Madrid 4-0. In other matches, Dinamo Zagreb played a 2-2 draw with AS Monaco, while Lille defeated defending champions Real Madrid 1-0. Liverpool also beat Bologna 2-0, while 10-man Juventus suffered a 3-2 defeat out of the hands of German side RB Leipzig, while Club Brugge defeated Sturm Graz 1-0. And World Athletics chief Sebastian Coe says an estimated 170,000 tickets have already been sold for next September's World Championships. Coe met with Tokyo Governor Yuriko Koike as the city prepares to host the largest sporting event in the calendar for 2025. The Britain is in the running to succeed Thomas Bach as the next International Olympic Committee president. And that's your Sporting Tonight. I'm Kelly Egiga. It's back to you today.
Thank you, Kelly. And the main news again. 70 people have died and at least 150 persons rescued after a boat carrying 300 passengers capsized in Bajibo community of Mokwa local government area of Niger State. And 300 communities have been flooded and an estimated 5 million locals sacked from their homes after floods hit Mokwa local government area of Niger State in north-central Nigeria. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. You have a good night and please stay safe.